Alright guys, and here we are today with our video for Build the knightrider KITT car. So with this, of course, we have 22, 23, 24, and 25. We're still focusing on the engine, so probably going to have about one or two more videos. Alright, of course, every magazine comes with pictures. So if you want to see these pictures, we can set up and put it into a behind the scenes series, but I like to just get in to start building. So without further ado, I think it's time we get on here with stage 22 and start doing the meat and potatoes by building this engine. All right, and here we go for all the parts for stage 22. This is looking pretty good, guys. Got a right side, got a left side. Still have our pieces from the previous video, and then we have some BP, GM screws, and some little brackets that we're going to be using to mount, and we have like a little rod here. So this is going to be interesting, guys. So let's move on and get on to step one. All right, so for our step here, we're going to take our exhaust. We're going to put it inside here. It's already set up for us, so it shouldn't be too hard. All we have to do, mount it here. Once we mount this piece onto here, we flip it over and we take our BM screws and put them in right here and here. All right, so now that that piece is completed, we're going to take our other one here, this piece, part number 22 Charlie, and we're going to basically attach this piece right up in here. So how they want that is pretty interesting. Okay, so you would have it facing like this, and then you'll have this piece kind of like a shelf. It'll line up, and then we just mount it on, and then we take two BP screws and we're going to put them in here and here. Now that we've completed step 2, step 3 tells us that we're going to take our other piece that we had from before. You're going to lay it or stand it up just like this, and you're going to take the other piece with your exhaust here facing upward, and they're going to hang in on these two pieces here, so it'll line right up and it'll fit right in there like a glove. Yet again, this one though will be using GM screws. Those will go here and here. Alrighty. Alright, so now that step 3 is completed, we're going to be moving on to step 4. Step 4 is basically just us repeating the same process that we did in steps 1, 2, and 3. So first thing, of course, is we'll mount our piece on. Then after that, we'll come back over here, we'll mount the black piece in, and then once that's done, we then mount it on to our other piece. Once all that is completed, then we move on to the final result of all this. Now, what we'll do is there's a step 7, so we'll come into detail with that, and that's going to fix an issue that you'll see while you're building. Alright, so now we're on to stage 7 because we got everything mounted. What I was talking about a problem is, see this little gap here? Apparently this rod is going to go in and it'll get rid of the gap. So we're going to give that a shot. Alright, and as we can see, it did. It got rid of the gapping there. Now I don't know if it's supposed to go all the way through, but that seemed to be the choice I took. But other than that, stage 22 here is now completed. So we're going to move on to stage 23. Alright guys, and here we are with stage 23. So far, we have the bottom of the turbine housing, the back of the turbine housing, bottom of the turbine housing again, which is kind of like one of these pieces. And then we have some screws. So without further ado, let's get on with it and put this piece together. So our first step here is to put on our black piece. That black piece will rest right in this little slot here. You'll have the two pieces sticking out facing towards the screw towers here, Okay, so that way you know exactly where they need to go. When you flip it over, we're going to be using some BP screws, and we only need 2, so I'm going to prep that and put this piece in. And so the BP screws are in, everything is mounted, it's nice and tight, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so now of course we move on to step 3. Step 3, we use the metal piece, and this metal piece is not going to go with the piece that we just worked on. It's actually going to go into here. So when you mount this into here, it's asking you to kind of stand it up and attach it to right here. So just looking at it, it seems to fit pretty good. I don't think it's I don't know, but just looking at it, seems like it just lines up, and then it makes a flat face on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and screw this in. I'm just going to let you know it might be a little tight, but other than that, we will be doing that, and we're going to use GM screws. Okay, so now that that is in and everything is good to go there, what we're going to do now is we're going to try and put in our next piece, which is this little doozy here. Okay, obviously we have a flat side and we have the open side. So just to let you know, the flat side goes on this open side, and then this opening here is going to go towards the flat piece that we just put in. So this kind of just slides into place. It will be tight, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right. So now that it's in there, we have to do the next phase. And the next phase, guys, it's very interesting because our next phase now is obviously to screw it in, and they're asking us to do it with some AM screws. So we're going to grab our AM screws and we'll go ahead and put those in. And so there you have it, folks. All of this is now sealed up, good to go. So this is a very exciting moment. However, our next one here is going to be stage 24. So I'll put this aside, grab the parts for stage 24, and we'll get a cracking on that. And there it is, guys, stage 24. Very simple, just some BP screws, and our little Knight Foundation logo is already on it. This looks pretty cool. So I'm going to take it out of the plastic here, because what we have to do is grab some screws, which are the BP's screws. And since we're doing that, we're going to be putting all that together now. And all it says is that you take it upside down, or this piece upside down, then this piece, and you just mesh the two together. And then once they're together, you kind of hear like a little clicky noise. And then you lay it down nice and easy. Now I have my little microfiber blanket here that I made, so it kind of helps it from maybe getting any scratches from a cutting board or whatever. But our next phase is obviously to put in the 3 screws. So here's how painstaking it is to put the 3 screws down on the mat. Now that they're there, we'll put them in the respected areas that they need to go. There you have it, guys. All these parts are together now, looking pretty snazzy, pretty tight. I do like the logo. I think it looks really cool. Obviously we got our BP screws, they'll go there. However, so far so good. Everything looks pretty sharp. We got the turbine engine here. We have the little Knight Foundation logo on the top here for the intake air duct. So this is pretty cool, guys. This is pretty cool. So now we're going to move on to stage 25, our final stage for this video. Okay, so BP screws, all for this stage here. So this is going to be interesting, guys, because this right here is more of the turbine assembly. So you have the front right air intake, okay, and that's what we have here. Obviously, we're going to be putting these parts together here. That's what pretty much step one is all about. So I'm going to put these two together using the BP screws. And there you have it. That's the end of step one. So now, obviously, we got to go to step two. So step two is kind of easy going, okay? So you have a long side and you have a short side. You kind of want the short side facing in one direction here, because we're going to be putting in this piece, and it's going to go right there, okay? Once we do that, we got to put the BP screws in, and then we'll be good to go. If you ever get worried, just remember it's one dot next to this piece, two dots next to the other one, which is our left side. So you'll see one screw hole here and then two little ones there. That's where you want them to be. So we're just going to take two BP screws, put them in. And so we have that all done. So now we take a 25 delta, which is this piece here. We're going to turn it so that way the flat side with the screw hole and the indent that's coming out is facing towards this side, and then the bottom half will be facing in the other direction. So you kind of just use the square, you're going to line it up, it's going to fit right in there. You'll grab a BP screw, all right, and then put that screw right up in here, all right. So that'll be where it goes, right up in that little spot to tighten it down. Never fear, you do have a few extra BP screws left over so far, so that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's just the way that it is for right now. So for now, I'm just going to screw this in. Okay. Once I screw this in, and we move on to our next phase, which is going to be step 4. So now step 4, here we go. With step 4, you kind of want it facing just like this. Obviously for yourself, you kind of want the box like this facing towards you. You want the right side facing on your right side, and then this box kind of facing towards you. Once that's done, you slide it right on. There's two little holes here for it to line up to, and like I said, it is going to be snugged in there, so you should be able to hear it, little plastic sound of it locking into place. And then what we do is we grab two BP screws, okay? So now you grab the two BP screws and you're going to screw them in here and another one right there. So just so you know, that's where those two BP screws are going. And then we will be coming to the results. So now that they were done, it will look like this. Just remember, this obviously will go on top of the engine compartment and everything. So never fear, this should be pretty good. If I'm right, I think we're going to be seeing it kind of mount up. I'm not sure where or how it's going to mount, but it looks to me like we might be seeing it mount like this. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's just me being kind of like that, but I think it's going to be more like this, but who knows. I mean, there's a picture of it in the booklet on how it's going to look. It all lined up like that. So that's how the book shows it towards the end. So this is going to be looking pretty good, guys. So, but without further ado, that pretty much concludes our video for today. And I'm glad you guys stopped by, checked it out. Hope you're enjoying this if you've been watching it from the beginning and seeing how we progress through all this. But yeah, so thank you again for stopping by. And if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the like. If you would like to, you can share it. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the bottom. You know, really would appreciate to see that people are going to want to come back and check out our progress as we go along on our awesome journey here building the Knight Rider car. And if you haven't seen it yet, but if you looked on our channel, you'll notice that we also have the Ghostbuster car from the 1987 movie. We also have the RoboCop in production in our model shop. And in our flagship model right now is the Starship Enterprise D from Star Trek The Next Generation, or if you've seen Star Trek Picard Season 3, or Star Trek Generations. But this has been a great adventure, and we have so much more planned for the channel. So more subscribers we get, the more we'll be putting out some content. And if you haven't yet, check out our little comedy there, our little shorts that we put out to kind of put a little entertainment to our how-to videos on how to build models and such. Other than that, thank you for stopping by the Thompson Model Shop, and like always, keep on modeling.